How's it going? My name is Dr. Jonathan Locust Jr. We are back with a special episode of How We Heal. We are super excited to be focusing on directing our cosmic energies. And we have one of our practitioners on Consci Rise who focuses on evolutionary astrology. That's her expertise. Just a little bit about her. Jeanne is a doctor in metaphysical science and an evolutionary astrologer. After a successful 35 years in Fortune 500 as a global executive information technology career, she pivoted her energies and her gets it done reputation from technology to people. She's passionate about helping others reach their full potential. Dr. Jeanne helps people discover who they really are, reveal their true life soul purpose, and get into action to get it done. And she does this by a focus and expertise on evolutionary astrology. And in this series that we're going to be focusing on what's happening up there so we can help you navigate what's down here. So I want to just welcome Dr. Jeanne. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Dr. Jonathan. Thank you for that fantastic introduction. I'm delighted to be with you. This is the first of our podcast series. We'll be doing this every month as we enter into a new solar season. So solar season, we're currently entering into the Virgo solar season. So there's a lot to talk about here. And what I'd like to do, Dr. Jonathan, is share our screen. That'll allow our listeners to follow along with us.
Absolutely. So I'm going to enable screen share right now.
Okay.
There we go. Okay,
And
so you should be able to share, Dr. Jeanne. We're excited to get started.
And there we go. And here's a PowerPoint, but we'll go straight into the presentation part of it. And there we are up in the right-hand corner. Direct your cosmic energies, folks. That's what it's all about. As we can see at the bottom of the slide, every soul is called into existence to fill a definite cosmic need. That is, in fact, why humanity exists, to develop humanity's consciousness. We'll hear a lot about that. So today, we're going to get into a lot of information. This being our first one, we may not get through all the slides, but do please come back next month. We'll be talking about the Libra solar season. Today, we're going to expose the birth chart straight out. We're going to take a look at the Dalai Lama. And one thing I'll be looking to instill in each and every one of our listeners is the importance of knowing your stars. Your stars reveal to you your reason for being here now in this lifetime, the energies that you came in with, the energies you will deal with, and how to evolve your soul and find true happiness in this lifetime. And I know true happiness is a cliche, but when we're living our soul purpose, happiness comes. We're going to talk about the cosmic ages. These are big, they're huge. And we are all here now experiencing the entry into the Age of Aquarius. It's so powerful. It hasn't happened in 248 years. The fact that we're here now, right, Dr. Jonathan? Isn't that amazing? 248 years. So not everybody's been blessed to experience this. We all get to usher it in together. We're going to then bring it back to today. Yes, we're going to talk about Virgo and the Virgo solar season. We're going to talk about the new moon and the full moon energies and making new moon wishes. And what energies are we under in this particular solar season's new moon and full moon? Then we take another broader view back by looking at what's called the generational planets and how they're playing out. We're all here. It's beyond Age of Aquarius, you'll see. And then time permitting, we'll get into what's called the closer planets, the personal planets. This is Jonathan and I hoping to impart into each and every one of our listeners the importance of your role in consciousness rising. Yeah.
And I'll just say as we get ready to discuss the birth chart, I had not went through this process I did not know my birth chart until I met Dr. Jeannie, and she was so, as I went through the process and she shared it with me, I've even saw how it's been helpful for me to know not only exactly what I should be doing, how the energies here are impacting that. And since we're all a part of the universe in these movements, we can then utilize those energies based on what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. So just talking from not having this from previous and not having to experience it to having it, it's been hugely beneficial and helpful for me to then even know how to just even operate and move forward throughout the day.
I'm so pleased to hear that. And I will tell our listeners, Dr. Jonathan, that your energies that you came into this lifetime with are perfectly aligned with consciousness rising. So it's amazing how it's come forward. And so here we have the wonderful, caring man, spiritual man, the Dalai Lama. This is his birth chart. He was born in 1935, July 6th. The interesting thing about the birth chart that we see here, it's also called the horoscope, the natal chart. It is unique to you. We each have one. No two will ever exist. In fact, it is a work of art. It is your portrait from the heavens. You should each have it, as I do, framed on the wall. I love to look at it and be reminded as to what I'm here to do, my part. There's a lot of symbolism here, and it can be a little overwhelming. To the seasoned astrologer, it is a language they fully understand. There's a lot of little symbols. Everything is symbolism, of course, but out on the outer side, we have what's called the zodiac signs. This is in the lighter beige, and the Dalai Lama has a sun. Are you seeing my cursor move, Dr.
I am,
Jonathan?
absolutely.
Great. He has his sun sign. His sun sign is in the caring, nurturing zodiac sign of Cancer, along with what is his Pluto. Pluto is the evolutionary impulse for this lifetime. And it's no surprise that it too is in that caring sign of Cancer. But that's just a few tidbits about the Dalai Lama. But the signs are on the outer circle. What we have here is these numbers. Numbers 1 through 12, there are 12 houses. And so folks can fairly understandably get confused with the houses. They don't move, there they are. The rising sign, the ascendant, the sign that was on the eastern horizon when the Dalai Lama was born was Cancer. And that is why it is his ascendant, who he is in the world, and it has the power of his sun sign. That's an extra punch, and it has its Pluto. Inside of here, we have then where were the planetary positions when he was born. So a brief intro into astrology. Dr. Jonathan and I are planning, and please be on the lookout for this, a special podcast that is titled Know Your Stars. And it's a primer. It's my way of teaching the listeners what their chart means, instead of just going to an astrologer and it's a lot of language and you don't really understand it. What does it mean? This little gold figure in the middle, picture that's you. That's the Dalai Lama. When he was born, yes, he was lying down when he was born. This is what the heavens looked like at the moment of his birth. What it all looked like. He was stamped at that place and time in China. And so it's unique. It's your place in the cosmos. It absolutely reveals your soul's intent, your evolutionary path. Your birth chart reveals hidden patterns, the lessons and the remedies. And so these blue and red lines are what are called aspects. So how are the planets energies coming together to form squares, which are lessons to learn, trines, which are helpful things. There's no such thing as bad aspects or good aspects. The aspects and your birth chart was chosen by you first and foremost. You set these energies. You decided when you would take that first breath. And they exist to evolve you through this lifetime. and implant in your soul. Yes, Dr. Jonathan.
Well, and for one, thank you, because you just gave me some information I didn't know. So this this is learning in real time. So
Yes.
I didn't know that the shapes actually, especially like you mentioned, the squares, trines,
Yes.
things that are actually related to particular lessons. But I think I want to hit something real quick that I believe you shared. So even though people will have the same birthday, they will not have the same birth chart. So each birth chart is unique, even though someone may have the same birthday. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Even twins born a minute apart, born 2 minutes apart, will
Mm,
have different birth charts because the heavens are turning. It's turning about. And a close birth, it could be, a lot of it's going to be similar, but these aspects certainly change out. And if one of the twin was born right at the edge of this is Gemini coming up before Cancer, right at the edge there, they could have a Gemini rising as opposed to a Cancer rising. These two
mm,
signs here, and that changes everything. That changes everything.
wow.
It is,
So,
as
so,
you.
so it really is, and again, and this will be the last thing, but I
That's okay.
really appreciate it. Like you said, this is so just like we would have a self portrait of ourselves.
Yes.
This is essentially a universal portrait of us, an
Yes.
actual universal portrait of who we are.
It's your cosmic portrait. Absolutely.
Ah, okay.
Yes. Yes. And so the lessons and the remedies, I've learned through learning astrology and knowing my stars. I know them very well now, as I should, that I know what lessons I'm here to learn. And so when I'm going through a rough patch, because we all do, I understand what's at play, and it's easier to get through it.
Hmm.
It's important to know what continues to bring us back. Your birth chart is a practical guide to the unfoldment of your life and the evolution of your soul. And so the key message here is going to be the importance of knowing your stars, as well as exposing you to energy and human consciousness rising. And so we'll continue on to the
Absolutely.
cosmic ages, okay? Yes, this is a busy slide. I'm not going to read it all out loud. But we're talking about the cosmic ages and the age of Aquarius. On the left-hand side, we see a table, and we talk about the age of Libra, Virgo, Leo. I'd like you to take a look at the fact that way back at 15,000 BCE, before Common Era, we knew that it was the age of Libra. We've charted the skies, and we know what particular things were taking place that would have equated to Libra energies.
Mm.
And they would have equated, they did, to Libra energies. The settlement of the Americas, very interesting. But we come further down, closer to our time. And in our time, we are exiting what is called the age of Pisces. This was when Jesus was born. Jesus was a fisherman. There's a lot of symbolism here. The sign of the fish is equated to Jesus. Well, the sign of the fish is Pisces. Pisces is water, it is the fish. And it's been going on since one Common Era, the birth of Jesus. Okay, this is the timing of it. But notice that it went for 2,150 years. And here we are now. We're not quite at 2150, but we're getting there. We're in this center point here. We're in this cusp point of transitioning. The ages take a while. They can take 300 to 400 years to take hold. A great year is a great term. I'd like everybody to think about the fact that there is a term called a great year. It's 25,772 solar years in which 12 astrological ages unfold. When that 25,000 is done, there'll be another 25,000. We've charted it back. Life has gone on and on and on. We won't get into when the beginning was, but I'd like to bring up the fact, Dr. Jonathan, that we have been chosen, everybody alive today has been chosen to usher in the age of Aquarius. And
Mm.
I'll go so far as to say even those that have been with us for the last 100 years and have now passed on, those that are coming in the next couple of 100 years, ushering in this 2000-year episode, the Age of Aquarius. This is humanity's next chapter. It's being written now. And this is a time when there will be a new set of values by which humanity will navigate itself into a fairer, more sustainable future.
Mm.
The highest values of Aquarius, humanitarianism. We're going to see that more. Knowledge, reason, innovation. I love this one, Dr. Jonathan, because it's you and I. People who work towards a great goal.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
great goal. We've been called all our lives, and we finally find ourselves here. The types of top-down systems that have dominated our society, that have broken us apart, they're going to fall to the side. They will simply cease to work and they will go away. We are for, yes.
Well, I was going to ask. So, and for one, the chart on the left, I just absolutely love. So, for all of our history folks, pause it and read it and look at it, because just to be able to then see the parallels between human evolution and astrological movements is profound. And as Dr. Jeanne charted this, it just so please take a look at it. But then when as you're talking about some of these systems will change, a new set of values, the hierarchical system won't necessarily work. This is because of, I'm assuming, a new set of energies that are completely different than the ones that we have been under for the last 2,150 or so years.
Yes, absolutely.
Got it.
Yes. The zodiac sign Aquarius is about the people. In fact, the United States, founded 200 and something years ago, 240 something years ago, if my math is right, was founded the last time we had these energies. So we'll see it in the generational planets, but the planet Pluto is entering into the sign of Aquarius. The last time this happened was when our country was founded, the United States, that is. It's the same time of the French Revolution, when all of that happened over there, and we just all watched the Olympics. So this is big energy. We are forging a we collaborative. If we think of our Declaration of Independence, we the people. It started out with that beautiful phrase, we the people. Well, we forgot about all we the people. We're going to go back to that. It's a collective society. This is the best of us. We're coming together. It's a new paradigm in society. Pretty beautiful. We're all here now to experience it. Yes, the age of Aquarius is a bigger age. That's every 2,000 years. But Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius, which we'll see up close in just a moment, is big as well. 240 something years ago. I wasn't here, unfortunately, but we're here now, and for a reason. But when does it start? Dr. Jonathan, there's been a lot of discussion out there. Well, when is the age of Aquarius? For those listeners that can remember back to the fifth dimension and their famous song, it's one of my favorites, The Dawning of the Age of Aquarius. Well, that was back in the 60s. And so the age of Aquarius has been coming. It's been in, the energies have been in transition. It's been intensifying for quite a bit. A lot of the discord that we see in the world today is a happening that had to happen so we could get to a new societal paradigm.
So really what we're seeing and have been seeing have been experiences of transition to kind of welcome those new energies.
Yes. Now, it doesn't mean the new energies are going to be perfect or great. No time is, because we're talking about the evolution of humanity ultimately. But we can talk about what to expect. And before I go to what to expect, some astrologers believe that it properly started on December 21st, 2020. So some believe that we're actually in it, some say we're not, but we're certainly feeling the energies of it. Technology, what to expect? A lot, a lot, a lot. There's no going back to the old. There's no going back there for the people that want to keep believing it's going to happen. Technology is going to take over. We see it with the AI. We're all going to have robots in the house. That will happen. Science
We
is
already
key.
got one. Our vacuum cleaner,
Yeah.
that the family named it Flower. At first we
Oh, I
said
love that.
flowers, but we're like, it's not plural. It's only one, and we only need one, so it's just Flower. So yeah, and it really it's a robot vacuum. So when you talk about like robots being in the home, already kind of seeing it.
Yes, yes, they'll be serving us and talking with us, and they will become our friends. You know, think about R2-D2 out in the Star Trek episodes. So science is going to have be front and center as well with technological breakthroughs in health. We're going to see the rise of self-sustaining communities, and some of us can think back to the 60s and the 70s when we had the hippies living in the communes, you know, where communities came together to help sustain each other and nourish each other. We'll see a rise in these self-sustaining communities. The focus will be food. Food will be a big focus, good food. The dynamics of marriages and relationships will change. There's an interesting thing happening there. When the marriage or the relationship is no longer fun or adding value to each other, it will likely end. The trend to work from home will grow. There'll be a replacement of Zoom. Something better is going to come. There'll be an increase in humanitarianism. So if we think about the fact that AI will take over jobs because it will, what will the people do? Well, maybe they're going to start to take care of each other better individually and better. Maybe we're not going to have to be doing all that crazy, you know, job stuff. Equal
And
right.
Dr. Jeanne, and one of the things that I can say that I'm personally excited about that you said that even kind of the return of like sustainable communities. You mentioned the hippie eras. I'm thinking even about like indigenous living, especially and even knowing that at that, you know, I was just thinking about at that time, I was talking to one of the elders, Osheti Shakaween, and he was sharing that a lot of indigenous people have the information of knowledge when the earth was different than a lot of of course things that man-made things that have not positively contributed to the earth owes all of these different things, but they have that information, the farming, and just the return of like you said, those sustainable communities, more people thinking and considering consciousness. And I even think about like how this even happened in ancient Africa. One of the reasons they were able to look at the stars is because they had systems where people were able to sustain themselves. So then people had time to think. People had time to consider consciousness and more consider these things. So if it allows for more of a connection between us, other people, or other cells, more celestial connections, and these are certainly things that I know I would welcome.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. It will do all of that, Dr. Jonathan. And each individual, you and I, our listeners, if each individual focused on raising their consciousness, it's contagious.
Yeah.
It's contagious. And knowing your stars would help you do that. So beautifully said. Yes, a lot of these indigenous people, the earth is everything. And there'll be a going back to that. We will see equal rights and opportunities become the norm. It won't just be spoken about and thought about. It will become the norm. It'll just be. Isn't that a beautiful thing, right?
Absolutely.
We won't need laws to force it. There'll be an increase in space travel and connections with other life forms. Yes, that will happen. Now, are we going to see all of this? Well, not unless we're going to live 2,000 years, 2,100 years, but we're certainly going to see the trajectory of it. and your
Mm-hmm.
children and your grandchildren. Please, I know you always keep them in mind, but definitely this is their future. What I've learned in astrology, I'm very passionate about it, is the energy will happen.
Yep.
And we can choose to be part of it and help it along the way, or not. And I believe our listeners, the fact that they're listening to us, want to be part of what's going to take place. And so we'll talk more about the cosmic ages. We'll dip in and out of this every month, but that's an intro to the age of Aquarius. And we certainly welcome any questions, and Jonathan and I will pick them up on the next podcast central to this theme.
Absolutely. And I'll just mention real quick, thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Any types of questions, if you email howweheal@concyrise.com, we will answer all of those questions on the next episode. So thank you for sharing that, Dr. Jeanne.
You're welcome, Dr. Jonathan. And here we go. Let's see, where am I? Yes. Okay. Well, let's come back to today. August 22nd to September 21st, we will be in the Virgo solar season. Now, for those of you, our listeners that know you're a Virgo, this I think is going to be welcome news. For those of you that know Virgos, it's going to be interesting news, but we are all under the Virgo energy. So Virgos are perceived as being perfectionists. And they are perfectionists. I happen to have 5 planets in the sign of Virgo, I can tell you. Definitely a problem. However, the reason why Virgo seeks perfection is Virgo sees the ideal, what could be, and what actually is, and always strives to be the better. All right. Virgo is all about great work in the world, because Virgo is the sign of service, not in terms of slavery, certainly, but service, the helping of others. Virgo strives to serve. Virgo is happy serving. Okay. The positive flow is there's a hunger to improve all the time. Friends and family of mine, they know that it's incessant. The negative flow is giving up on yourself. So there's that constant battle in that space. Yes, they seek perfection because they seek to realize their full potential. And so there's a couple of points here. For our Virgo listeners, sun sign Virgo, for our Virgo listeners, and for all of us in the Virgo solar season, our action is to seek self-love. And I say for all of us in the solar season because these energies are influencing us. Whether you know about the energy or not, you are being influenced by it. And so seek self-love and find your right work. It's no coincidence that this is the time that we all go back to school. And before I turn it over to Dr. Jonathan and talk about Virgo consciousness, I'd like to point out, again, for the Virgo and for all of us right now, we ought to find our right work. Your birth chart reveals your right work. So certainly that's something that we can help you understand more of. And it's the craft through which you must serve the community. And the work must matter. Virgo's a pretty powerful energy. And we're with it till September 21st. And so, Dr. Jonathan, what are your thoughts in this age of Virgo for consciousness?
Yeah, well, even so, as this up here, the first thing that before I get into like consciousness is that's September 19th, 1963 is actually my fraternity's founding date. So it was actually founded in the Virgo solar season, which I'll just kind of just keep that in the back to think about that. But as Dr. Jeanne mentioned, when you're looking at Virgo consciousness, it is that hunger to improve, that wanting for development. And since it's looking at the ideal, where things could go, that those perfection energies, we have to make sure, and Dr. Jeanne and I were talking about this, even about ourselves, wanting to focus on spirituality and personal growth and grow, but if we're not hitting those self-made checkpoints, we can then start to maybe experience that negative flow, that giving up on ourselves, which is not what we want to do. So we want to make sure that as we are utilizing these energies for personal and spiritual career, for growth, we also balance that with empathy for ourselves by seeking self-love and not being too hard on ourselves when we may not hit those self checkpoints. And as she mentioned, it's the collective of coming back. We're coming back to school supplies. So we know a lot of the families, parents, our teachers, we know we had to do a lot of those things. But if you are curious as to how Virgo actually plays out in your birth chart in this solar season, we'll put the link below, but reaching out and scheduling a session with Dr. Jeanne on Kansi Rise, who, again, her passion for evolutionary astrology, for being able to help people show and see not only their cosmic identity, their cosmic portrait, but then how that cosmic portrait and identity can be used to not only serve others, but to be able to experience that life of happiness that we all are seeking.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Dr. Jonathan. You hit it right for me. What I do. And so, Virgo, let's talk about the full moon and the new moon. So the moon, luminary up there, we all see it. We see it when it's full, certainly we notice it, and we notice the crescent moons. And so the darker circle is what is called the new moon. When we don't see it, it's the new moon. And we're going to have a new moon on September 2nd. It is in the sign of Virgo. It is exactly new at 21:55 Eastern Standard Time. Virgo is also the sign of mentors and teachers. Again, no coincidence, we're going back to school. Those that are serving with Virgo energy are serving as mentors and teachers. Again, I have 5 planets in Virgo, and again, it's about the great work. But the new moon is a time for all of us to begin anew. It's a fresh start, and it brings energy from the cosmos to stand behind your intentions, to give them energy. So Virgo's developmental aim is perfection. Where might you seek perfection in your lifetime? What is it that you're looking to grow in? You want to think about those desires on the new moon and plant seeds and set new intentions. So how we do that is by handwriting in a journal our new moon wishes. And so within 8 hours of the new moon, now it's interesting, it happens, in the evening. Some people are nighttime people, or you do it first thing in the morning. But you have a journal that is special for your new moon wishes and for your full moon, which we'll talk about. And a great way to
Dr.
start.
Jeanne, one question, and this is, it's important, I believe, to write this opposed to just keeping it in our mind and saying this is what I want. So is it more important to write it than to just think about it or keep it mentally?
Absolutely. Writing it commits it. It says to God, source, universe, whatever your term is, it says, I want this.
Yeah.
It's not just a passing thought. It says, I want it. It's in writing. It's a commitment. You've said to the energies, I want this to come into my life.
The action, the intention, all of these things are moving forth when you're actually writing it down, opposed to just saying, oh, this would be some cool stuff that I want, turn on
Yes.
the TV, write it down.
Everything is energy, Dr. Jonathan. Letters have energy. There's numerology that comes into play. Writing your words brings energy. It's like creating a cosmic fireball and throwing it out there.
Oh,
It
I
will
like that. A cosmic fireball. That's good. I like that.
cool.
I like
Yes,
that.
it is that. And one can even envision that. Okay, I've done it. Here you go, universe. Bring it on me. I will caveat one thing here, however. Universe knows what is best for the evolution of your soul and your intention for this lifetime. That's one thing to keep in mind. If you're wishing for something that goes completely against the grain of that, don't be surprised if it doesn't come. But I believe that we follow our intuition when we write our new moon wishes. And I believe intuitively, we all know what we should be doing. I strongly believe that.
Well,
And so
and I was just going to say you are 1,000%, 1,000% right, because there were times that I probably still be doing it now, but have wished for things that I know I didn't have any business wishing for. And the universe did not respond in kind. But even now, as a lot of the things that I'm focusing on with Consi Rise, that also was in alignment with my birth chart that I saw from Dr. Jeanne, and you start to feel the flow of when you're actually doing something that you're actually supposed to be doing. So keep that in mind. If you're asking for something that is not in alignment with why you're here, then it may not come. And if it doesn't come, then consider that a blessing. Because I think about if I would have got those things that I was asking for, I would not be doing this. I wouldn't be here. So even when we don't get things that we ask for, I think there's a lesson. There's blessings in that as well. So I just had to relate to that because it made so much sense and it resonated, Dr. Jeanne.
that's beautiful. Thank you for that. And so we'll move along. I'm watching the time here. So within 8 hours, no more than 10 wishes. And here's the title of the book and an author who actually gives you example wishes and ways to do your new moon wishes. So very terrific book in that space. Your birth chart, your exact birth chart reveals the area of life in which these energies will be available. So that's good to know, as Dr. Jonathan just spoke about. On September 17th, we come into the full moon of Pisces. This is the mystic. Pisces is the mystic. It's consciousness itself. The full moon is about letting go of what no longer serves you. So in this space where it's spiritual, Pisces is spiritual, it's mystic spiritual, it's a decoupling of your consciousness from your personality, is the sign of Pisces. And with the same journal, I recommend that on the full moon, again within the 8 hours window, journal, write, where am I in life compared to where I think I want to go or where I'm going. If you're not sure where you're going, Dr. Jonathan and I certainly can help you be more sure with that. And so we'll go on from that, more about those particular spaces in our next podcast. I'd like to talk, and then we'll be coming to, unfortunately, our time has gone so fast, Dr. Jonathan, we'll be coming to a close down.
Well, we're gonna be back.
We're gonna be back. We're gonna be back. We didn't get through everything. And so, and also joining us again, there'll be repetitiveness, but there'll be things that you probably didn't hear because you were listening, still absorbing the last thing we said. Pluto, these are the generational planets, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus. And the thing I'd like to point out is we're talking about transformation with Pluto, illusion with Neptune, and with Uranus, individuality, breaking rules, questioning authority. Let's talk about what's happening in the skies today and the fact that all of these planets shift energy in our lifetime. This also is very unique. We know Pluto has a 240-year orbit, And Neptune is 165 years. The last time it was in the sign of Aries, which is where it's going to go in March of this year and hang around there until 2039. The last time was pivotal in our world and country, the Civil War, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army. But, for consciousness rising, the rise of spiritualism, again, this is Neptune. It's coming into Aries, which is all about the I am, the individual person. We'll talk more about these three in our next podcast. And I think that's where I'm going to leave us there now, Jonathan. We're going to bring our session to a close, certainly, but sky happenings, the closer planets, we'll talk about those more next month and what's happening there. And Dr. Jonathan, our time always goes too fast. And
Always.
so I turn over to you and thank you for this beautiful opportunity.
Absolutely. Again, thank you, Dr. Jeanne, for taking us and giving us this information, knowledge about sky happenings, what's happening with the new moon, the full moon, as well as all of the other areas that we talk about, taking us through the ages, all of this different information that we learn. And since we know, again, we're running close on time, if you're curious about how any of these energies impact you or how you can work with them and be more alignment, understanding your birth chart, knowing your stars. That's one of the sessions that Dr. Jeanne offers on Consci Rise, is knowing your stars. So we want to make sure that we put the link below and you can sign up for more information. If you have any questions about the podcast, you can then email us at howweheal@conscirise.com. But again, thank you so much, Dr. Jeanne, for your time. And we're going to be back next month talking about what's happening up there so we can help you navigate what's happening down here. Thank you so much again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day, week, month, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.